Welcome to Nevermind the Furthermore. Wait a minute, this music isn't right, the scene isn't right. Hang on. That's more like it. And now it's time for the show for all creatives. Nevermind the Furthermore. Your source for conversation, inspiration, and fun. With your host, Nicholas Anthony Tockert. He's an artist, a writer, a swordsman, and a game designer. He knows how to use the sword and axe in historical battles without anybody getting hurt too much. He's also the Manatee Man, master of marketing. And he may even have a guest or two. One thing, though, to be certain. Just don't call him a cryptid. With that, it's about time for the show. So sit back, enjoy, and have some coffee and chat with us.
Good morning, Nevermorians. I'm your host with the most, Mr. Nicholas Anthony Tockert, trying not to get issues for my family photo. I remember you pulling that Facebook, YouTube. How's everybody doing? Before we get rolling, let's start with how we make the money. And we are making the money today, with all manner of difficulty. It is just one of those mornings. I wanted to show you guys something, but that's coming up in a little bit. No, folks, we are brought to you today by a wonderful grant from, gift from our own Joe Bachman over at Joe Bachman Technologies. We also are made possible by the patrons of the Historical Fencing Guild at patreon.com/the Historical Fencing Guild, and sales of my books, such as The Simple Sword, the Big Stompy Robots line of books and games, and the Simple Spear and Fighting Axe, all available through Amazon. More coming out this week, actually. I'm fighting the formatting errors, issues, and conundrums, which, if that's not a word, it should be, of Tales of Art and Tales, my short stories collection. But it is Friday, folks, and it's going to be one of those Fridays where everything goes wrong. Can't find my wallet, running in late. The whole week has been a week of Mondays. But, folks, I feel that when you have that era, when the energy has gone all chaotic, you just got to walk through it. You have to accept that it's going to be the kind of week where everything goes boink. And hope it doesn't boink too hard. I have a bit of a apology for the folks who went on Nerd Bacon expecting to see me. I was not able to make yesterday's Nerd Bacon because Alexander was ill and had to be taken to urgent care. He had a very high fever. He has a sinus infection. It is getting better. He's medicated. Little dude's holding up. But as anyone can know, especially the parents, it's always an adventure. So that kind of it's been one of those nights where you stay up late as a parent, keeping an eye on your kid. It just happens, and you wake up a lot. So we are through with that. That's pretty much my intro. That does mean yesterday's accountability was I was parenting. Thanks. Sorry. But let's go through. Let's go through the chat. Let's see who's in, and then we'll deal with everything that comes down the pipe. First person through the door. Yo, it's Friday. That's our own Carl Witzman. Great to see you, Carl. Wow, tough crowd today. Isn't that supposed to be Friday? Yes, it is. And we're going to move this to new window. And we're going to fix this because it is glitching. Which, of course, folks, of course it is glitching. Because, this today. I accept that today is going to be a day where things go boink. I really, really do. So let's deal with this. There we are. Now we're starting to get back. I can see what's going on. Okay. Now. Boop. Whatever works for you. Where is everyone hiding this morning? And hi, Donna. Glad to see you. Talk about creations. Where do your titles could come from? Could be writing or could be drawing. That's a great topic. Where do my titles come from? Let's get through the year and we will talk about that. And he's here even, and we're joined by Joe D. McPhee. So I will run his ad totally not in an effort to buy just enough time to straighten a few things out. So let's see what we can do.
Hi, I am Joe D. McPhee. I am the host of From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher, and I want to cordially invite you to watch our show Saturdays at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. On our show, we will have different guests as well as talk about the comic book industry and pop culture. And every so often, I might actually do a drawing session or a 3D rendering session every here and there. So once again, I want to invite you to watch From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher right here on the broadcast channel that you're looking at, whether it be Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Hope to see you there and make certain that you catch From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thanks.
Yep, From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher is Jody McPhee's amazing show. Why is this glitching so very bad? Because it's one of those. We're gonna make this work. Don't worry. I'm gonna do this. It's just hilariously malfunctioning. Now, what's going on? That let's go through the comments, and then we're going to talk about, because today is both a very special day, and we have a great comment in where do you get your writing. So we're going to blast through all these comments real quick, and then we're going to hit the stuff up. Okay, so welcome, Jody McPhee, and from the desk. Here we go. Jody, we have a comment dump. Groovy. Morning, folks. Well, that makes three of us. Hardly worth Lord Nick getting up this morning. Oops, spoke too soon. Hey, Rich. Title usually comes with the general idea as I develop the project. Me too, but I'll think up a working title, but it almost always changes. For me, there's some overarching topic. Some authors use a portion of dialogue for theirs. Oh no! Nick is turning into Garfield the cat. Every day is a Monday. This week it really has. Wall is probably in your car or in your coat, Nick. It's not in my coat. I'm hoping it's in my car. That's great news. At least he is okay. Wasn't Amanda sick? Yes, we all were. It hit me hard and fast, and it really messed up Mandy. But what happened is I think Xander got hit with like a cold sinus infection and a stomach bug at the same time, and it just took too much out of him for a while. Misty and Crow are down for the count today, so I feel your pain, brother. Dang, Rich. Well, before we get into the commentary, today is a special day. And why is today a special day? Well, those of you who follow my lovely Facebook feed know that 3 years ago today, Brian K. Morris had a problem. He had a problem in that something went wrong, and honestly, I can't remember what. And he could not do his daily feed in 2019. And at that point, Can't Find the Furthermore. Cannot Find the Furthermore. No. Nevermind the Furthermore was so important to me, and the community at large that I didn't feel is right that nothing got aired that day to the community. So I did something in typical fashion of yours truly to kind of deaden the blow. So I'm going to give a very embarrassing blast from the past for the next 50 seconds or so. Hi, folks. I'm Nick Tockert. And as you can tell, I'm not Brian K. Morris. But our friend, author, and inspiration is sick. So I took it on myself to improvise a Cannot Find the Furthermore, to remind you guys to keep writing, to share your stuff, to plug his stuff, and plug your stuff in the comments. I hope he appreciates the joy of this homage. Now, so get down in the comments. Don't just tell Brian how much you love him, because he needs that for his ego. It's good for him. But share your projects, share your information, comment with each other, and then he won't feel he messed out or missed his community. So, hope you have a good morning. Yeah, folks. Let me just quantitate that and address the assorted questions coming out, because I'm sure that there's some great questions. Dang Rich, yeah, we all hope Misty and Crow are doing better. Good afternoon, Bonzer. I hope you're having a lovely day. Is that a bucket? Yes. I was not the Vorlon God bougie. No, I did not have the means for costuming, and I had only about a minute before I thought my attention span would make, and imposter syndrome would prevent me from doing it. So I had to improvise. So I grabbed a small sand bucket that I had, threw it on my head as an improvised fez, and tied a garbage bag as a bow tie around my neck to provide the world's first Cannot Find the Furthermore. Little did I know I would be jumping into this wonder that you see before you, where I have a semi-functioning backdrop and I have superior audio and visual equipment for a fairly well-established internet program streamed to 3 locations. From the phrase started at the bottom, now we're here. But it's been such an honor. It was such a silly honor to try to help Brian out. And I think that kind of put me on the path, clearly, to end up where I am right now, running Nevermind the Furthermore for Brian, who I hope is having a wonderful day. He rarely makes this program, and it's kind of fitting that today he hasn't thus far either, because it fits with the theme. But I like to think that on the days he doesn't, he is either working diligently, typing away like the beginning of Murder, She Wrote, or cuddled in with his cookie. Because in commentary to that, I do want to remind folks to bring cookie home. Support Brian K. Morris at Risingtide.pub so that he can do that, so that he can bring cookie home, and she doesn't have to work out of the house. That is something I think is a great thing. Let's see. So yes, Lamau, you still have the Master Chief helmet? Yeah. Hello. It fell down. Hang on. Yeah. I am literally working on my study today. But yes, I still have the Master Chief helmet. My wonderful $2.99 at Goodwill purchase. And whenever I get my study cleaned up, I will give my Patreon patrons especially a walk-around tour. But, hey, Bonzer, it's a retro episode today. Hey, Bonzer. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Blue Teddy. Hope you're doing well. And Bonzer is greeting everyone. Nope, Lord Nicholas, you can't explain that away. It exists. Just live it down as best you can. Okay. Posting I'm not sure what I'm trying to live it down, but posting a new motivational video later, how to start writing. Wonderful. I hope folks, please follow Radio Retro Future. He's a wealth of knowledge, especially in all things steampunk. Blue. Hey, Blue Teddy. Morning, Blue Teddy. I'm thinking Blue Teddy might need some fan art real soon. I have to think about this for a bit. But I have been prattling for a little bit, and we're at a 15-minute mark, so give me a second to run one of Bonzert's ads. Let's see.
Greetings, fellow traveler. I am Dankard Lexicon. You're either here because somebody directed you here, or because of the strange currents inside the algorithm. In either case, welcome to Radio Retro Future, where we talk about steampunk and other forms of retrofuturism in pop culture. What is steampunk? Well, I'm glad you asked. Steampunk is a combination of science fiction and alternate history, wrapped in a delicious dough of Victorian pulp fiction and modern-day pop culture tropes. You still want to know more? Go check out our ongoing Steampunk Beginner's Guide, the series which explores the genre, aesthetic and culture. Or you can check out the community's musicians, inner teledrama, steampunk music for Fallout. Yes, a actual steampunk-themed radio station for the game Fallout 4 that is part of the mod Old World Radio 2. Or you can check out the Radio Retro Future podcast, where we have interviews with writers and other types of creators within the international community. On our second channel, the Retro Future Research Foundation, on the other hand, we have story videos like Tales of the SCP Foundation, readings of Lovecraft and related writers, lore explanation, and hopefully our very own narrated series of our original short stories called The Association of Ishtar. If you can't wait for the narrations, you can read The Association of Ishtar by following the link down below. That is what we do in a nutshell, and if you want to get involved, join our Discord community where stuff happens. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna bid you adieu, and as always, make things your way.
That's right, folks. The lesson of make things your way is probably one of the most valuable things Bonzert's ever put out. I know that seems like a very small thing, but it's just so important for us to realize that in this era of AI art, we need to maintain our personal creativity and do things defiantly in the face of mass-produced plagiarism. A lot of people are raging, say, we have to stop this. Here's the sad fact. It's not going to stop. Just like how calligraphers felt when the printing press began to take over. It's not going to stop. You just have to find your place in the world. Whether it's good or not remains to be seen. So, let's see what's going on beyond that. And nope, Lord Nicholas, you can't explain that away. It exists. Just live down to... Oh, you're talking about my growth. That's sarcasm. I have a skeletal anglerfish in my window right now. I'm not going to go up and get it. You've seen him a couple times. And I have Lydia, my undead office assistant, hanging in the corner. I may get her a new hook. I'm literally working on reorganizing my study as part of today's plans. And I really need to just upgrade some things around here. I've lived here long enough. I need to accept that it's my place. Now, there was an interesting question that was actually posed. And the question was posed by Carl that said, wait, let's before I get into that, let me look at how long this, because I just got a comment dump. Okay. Cool. So let's say posting the new motivational letter. We covered that. Blue Teddy. Good morning, Blue Teddy. And Blue Teddy deserves all the stuff. There we are. The pre-launch on my page on Kickstarter Live is now. Wow, did I dyslexia that, guys? Good morning. The pre-starter. I did it again. The pre-launch page of my Kickstarter is now live. What happened was I was unpacking the KS into Kickstarter, and as soon as I did, I started juggling the words. Now I understand why that's happening. And I don't think I need to share anymore. That should make things a little easier to manage. Morning, Bonser. The next issue of Comics Unlimited is out. Wonderful. Throw out the links, guys. The Association of Ishtar.com/KS. If we get 30 followers before Wednesday, I make a special video. So, folks, if you want to see it, you got to sign on up. Sign up to be notified. Thank you. It is my pleasure. Now that I've gotten through that, piece on my desk decided to move up. Guys, where do the names come from? See, for me, it's either direct in that what'll happen is I'm a big fan of the Tober prompt ideas where, here's a random word, draw it. Okay? If I draw something, an image comes out from a word, well, that story has an image. That image has a story. I can't help it. Writing and art are just meshed in my mind. That's probably why I have an interest in comic books. And so when I write, what happens is either I get, I'm doing it for a purpose. So if I'm writing my nonfiction game design brain goes, I need to write this. Well, what I need to write usually gives me at least a working title. I want to write a book about axes. I don't want to do the simple axe, because if I did the simple this, the simple that, it would get a little boring, possibly. And axes are a little different than the simple spear. So I went the fighting axe, and that went really well. You play with it's about this, play with the verbiage, go down the line. Now, when I write fiction, I do not usually get whole storylines. I don't get an arc. Like, I could tell a story about this character who does X, Y, and Z. No, what I get is I'll just be chilling, doing something, working on something else, and I will get a scene. An incredible scene. Maybe it's somebody fighting off a monster. Maybe it's a heroic last stand. Maybe it's a thief running in the rain. Just this little flash that I could then sketch these. This is where a lot of the images, because if you notice, I rarely do truly still images. I either do a character, which it is still, but that's because the character has popped up in my head. It's like, draw me now. Or it's just the scene. So I start asking myself, how did we get here? And the story grows outward from that. I think naming is something that both terrifies people and it gets way too much. People will use naming as the ultimate roadblock to getting things done. I know I've done it. And I can't. God, I hate to say that. I can't abide that. But I really can't. You can't let the name of a thing stop you. I mean, look at the naming conventions on manga these days. Is it okay to pick up a girl in a dungeon when you're just a short dude? Or my life as a reincarnated wombat? These They are not efficient names. They're these very long, twisted names. And if you have to do that as a working name, fine. You can clean that up later. Everything can be edited. But I really do think that that shouldn't stop you. So we've got some comments while I was prattling. Let's go. Thanks, Nick. You made me think of the Legend of John Henry. New tools will come out, but it takes people who can truly use said tools at masterful levels to surpass the masters of the craft. That's true, and what ends up is it becomes a new craft. Basically, what you're going to find with AI, I think, if I'm going to pull out my crystal ball, because I'm not going to lie and say I like AI. Well, let me amend that. AI generated art from a prompt. It's literally doing what Inktober does. The process is pulling from images. Now, it's interesting because what that is it is weaponizing an information base that has been around for a very long time. Why do you think, friends, that say when you submit on DeviantArt or you submit on anything and you have the option to put those happy little hashtags, hashtag art, hashtag wholesome, hashtag castle, hashtag whatever. That's data, because it's very, very difficult to scan through images from words, but it's very, very simple to scan through images that have tags. It makes it much easier. And then when you run some basic visual algorithms, like a face is shaped mostly like this, it's an oval. It's very simple. This is why AI art can do faces, and you'll see a lot of faces in simple body poses, but the hands are like because the possible arrangements of the positioning of a hand in the relative space. So if you take your hands, guys, this is a good visual action. You have this range of motion, roughly. You have this range of motion. Mine's good. I have to do my therapy again. But each finger has basically these and then these. This is a whole lot to track. So all the hands are constantly going in this little box. They can't go outside the box, but boy, do they travel a lot inside it. Whereas when you look at the joints, and this is from somebody who's had to analyze body mechanics, both as an artist and as a swordmaster, elbow joint is only going to go from this degree to about 180. Bam. So you have what, 15, 20, maybe 45 if you're really a flexy guy and your arms can't fit, 30 something. I'd have to look at the angle better. Yeah, about 30 something. All the way to 180. It only does that. So it's really easy for a computer to process this. Why do you think it's so hard to draw hands proportionate to drawing elbows and shoulders? Because shoulders have lots of ball travel and it hinges on the balls, but still much more limited than all this gobbledygook. So from there, you can take that one. If you feel bad that hands are hard to draw, it's hard for the world's most advanced digital AI algorithm to do it too. They're hard to draw. Two, what you're going to find the art form related to AI manifestation is going to be how well you do essentially Boolean searches, how well you align your terms to produce the outcome. So on that angle of it, I can see the appeal. The downside is all the art draws from pre-existing art. Okay, so it's routing by exposure. It's going through images submitted to it, and most of those images are done let me put it this way, are acquired without the creator's knowledge or consent. Now we get into the problem, because a huge amount of the world's problems, I believe, derive from people not wanting to acknowledge consent. In fact, almost all the problems, because consent is the line where your rights stop and someone else's rights begin. And that is a vital, one of the most important concepts as a human being we can grasp. Because the logic is your rights extend infinitely in all directions until they impinge on the rights of another. And then we have conflict. And that line is the consent of the person whose rights are being impinged. This is interesting. This is logic. But let's keep going on to the comments, because I've been prattling again. It's actually the topic of the next video. Look forward to it. I was going to use the spy name Love and Death Down Under, but it doesn't mesh exactly, so I changed the order, Death and Love Down Under. It seemed to fit. Thinking of putting add love in parentheses to make it somewhat more poignant. The mechanical writing of that's a little clunky. That death, comma, and love. So I get what you want the death and love, the and love to be a separate clause dropped in. So mechanically, comma, death and love, comma, down under. I see where you're going with that. But it does feel kind of chunky. Thinking of putting and love in parentheses to make it. And see, that's the difference between proper writing and title writing. I think about this a lot because I have to name my videos. And I'm always torn whether I want to capitalize the or capitalize the in Nevermind the Furthermore. This sits on me a bit. Because the proper way to do it would probably be lowercase the. So never mind capital the furthermore, as the and or things like that rarely are capitalized. But visually, aesthetic wise, it looks much nicer. And if you listen to people when they refer to this program in shorthand, it's NTF. Never mind the Furthermore. Therefore, because it has been acronymized, or I think that would be yes. It requires a little more zest on there. I would really try just drawing it out and seeing what catches your eye and looks better. She says, Carl, I really hope you're not putting that in comma after death in. Maybe use a different font. Yes, it bothers me a lot. Thus the parentheses idea. It's not bad. AI art will generate art from predefined examples. It will not create from thin air. It will have a hard time with expressions and unique detail that may not be the predefined artwork by the AI studied. What's going to happen with AI art, because you have to realize this is a cumulative technology. Okay. Right now, it's sort of like photo bashing. It's where what it does is it takes from a vast number of images and then layers the concepts. When they take the AI, the algorithm to read the tags, because you have the algorithm that reads the tags where this picture. So a lot of times on DA, if you look under any of my pictures, and I'm using DeviantArt because that's where I've lived for 20 years. Well, almost 20 years. If you go there, the pictures have tags. They have been asking for tags so that people can use the search engine to find art they like for the whole time. So that chunk of knowledge has been there. Somebody went, well, if I can do it, maybe I can make an AI, and we'll start with an algorithm to pull out the parts and then run it through some kind of visual filtering process. Now, when they combine that with the stuff that that has been trained in analyzing, especially the way faces work, it's part of processing from mocap, motion capture. If I want to look excited, these muscles constrict, and it pulls my eyebrows up. Something has surprised me. When they start processing more of that and understanding that taking the image and distorting it properly, you'll get better there. It's going to have a hard time tracking because it's just, think in terms of robotics, okay? To get, people think of a hand, right? And a hand opens, it closes. You can do that pretty easily. You can do individual fingers that go pretty easily. But getting them to do where they flare, so they're rotating it at a point here. Because remember, your fingers aren't just here. The bones go straight down into the hand, and that's where this whole webbing area that is a bit lets them do what we do. This is where the musculature lies. This is a lot of interlaced motion to track and capture and understand. So AI is going to have problems drawing hands for a long time, which is good because it's motivating me to be better about drawing hands. If anything, because it's a defiant, we're draw hands, read between the lines to AI. Titles give me grief. It's often turn of phrase or a song title that gets stuck in my head. My shorts kind of go with a couple word title that draws from the story, and that works. One of my favorite authors, a lovely lady by the name of Kim Harrison, a whole bunch of her books are all, at least in the Hollow series, which I do recommend, great reads, are parodies of Clint Eastwood titles. So, Dead Witch Walking. So, there are ways to do it. You can parody, you can create. Don't let the title stop you from writing. It just needs to be something that when you look at till you're published, it has to be something that you can find on your computer or find in the notebook. That's it. Until it's published and you're promoting it, the title doesn't need to be that imperative. Get the story done, because once you have the story done, you may find lots more options for what the title can be. But anybody goes, I'm going to write a story. Pick its title. I don't know how many authors have walked into that just like a forehead-high beam and just gone, donk. Again, you enter a transformer shooting a GoBot with a laser beam. You may be able to get electric transfer or shooting a generator. Decisions by algorithm will not be accurate yet. Part of it is understanding the refinement in the query. Think of it just like you're trying to find a specific image on Google. Okay, Joe. The more precise you put in, the more precise you're going to get out. That's garbage in, garbage out. That is the base thing. This is old school programming logic, and you know that. The thing is, it tracks not just for the search, but it tracks the phrasing for the search, and when you pick results, the results that assign to it. So it's probably giving a numerical value to the likelihood that this is what you mean. So the more people that use it, the more it gets fed, the more information it has to process and refine. So it's very fascinating. And yes, it does make things more difficult for artists, and I think it will continue for a while. But in many ways, it's just like a calculator. Calculators are wonderful tools. I love calculators because I'm dyscalculic. Numbers float for me sometimes. It's like, Nick, you do complex math and things. Yes, I do a whole lot of story problems because I can assign words and it helps root things down. Pure mathematics is not my friend. The process that's being done will likely evolve and get better to imperceivable. But just like calculators, it's nice to be able to do math in your head. And when the calculator's away, the people who can do math in their head are kind of impressive. And when they put you in a situation where you can't access that lovely calculator and have to do the math in your head, then it gets interesting. The biggest example that I can put out is counting cards. Blackjack would be a lot easier to play with a calculator. It would be even easier with a computer algorithm that tracked it for you and constantly read the cards. This is why such things aren't allowed. So don't think you can fight it, but also don't expect, like, people like, rage, we have to stop it. It's going to happen. Sorry. I don't like it, but it's going to happen. Keep to your art and doing what you do, because art is one of those things that will never truly be obsolescent. And I think what AI is going to do, AI is going to make traditional art more valuable. Because once there is an easy way to do it, people won't. Think about it, Joe, especially because he's the one we're having most bounce back with. If you just wanted to put a person and pose them and have all their proportions perfect and just pose them, something like DAZ 3D is a whole lot easier than hand drawing and checking all your proportions every single time. That's not cheating. That's just using the tool at hand. Luke Stone uses all sorts of posers, and he hires people to be layout artists, people who will roughly lay out how it's supposed to be drawn in a lot of his work. That's not cheating. That's hiring somebody. Or you could go through a program like Clip Studio Paint and use their kind of generic posers as either a reference or a trace overable level. Is that cheating? There are some people who say it is, some people say it isn't, some people say it's about commercialism. This is the same discussion and debate that's been going on since draw a straight line. Oh, use a ruler. That's cheating. Now, I have known some people with the skills and practice who could render three-dimensional objects on a drafting table perfectly without the use of any tool, save for the pencil that they're drawing with and the paper they're drawing on. Every proportion, every measurement, perfect, because they've trained their eyes to do it. That means it's possible. But if you don't want to, then don't do it. Use the tools. But I will say this. I don't currently consider the people who use AI solely as artists. They are commissioning a product. If that product is end all and be all, if that's what they're doing, they're saying, AI, give me Mount Fuji with sakura blossoms and a yellow sky. And look, I did this. No, you commissioned a computer to produce it. That's not creating the art. That's saying that is exactly the same as walking up to Luke Stone or me or Jody McPhee and saying, I want a picture of Mount Fuji with the yellow sky and sakura blossoms. And then the system goes, my BIOS system's going, bam, and does it. So it's a part, we live in a world where words are starting to have less concrete meaning. In some cases, it's having positive effects. In some cases, it's having negative effects. But there has to be a point where we have to say, this is a blank, this isn't. And we're running into that. That's a whole nother story that could be taken wrong. But okay, let's see. Title of the book doesn't usually hit me. A title of the book or story usually hit me, and it doesn't change much. This one, well, it's been troublesome, but I never let the title stop me from writing the rest of the story. That's the trick. Write your story. We have two conflicting conversations kind of weaving into it. Don't let the title stop you, which is funny because the title is essentially the search tag. Everything comes in on itself, folks. One of the shorts that's stuck in the back of my head is about the Arenes I want to call Hell's Bells. Do it. That sounds like a great story. But just finish one and publish it. I mean, take the short stories you have put out, edit them, put them in Kindle Create or whatever, put them up so that I can promote them. That's all I ask. I'm just saying, okay, here we go. I'm just saying, Mind's Eye is far more detail in parsing data than typical algorithm with fixed number of examples. I don't see innovation of AR We won't get the yet. The problem you're finding comfort, and I'm saying the simple truth is this is an exponentially growing process. And believe me, I don't necessarily like this, but I believe firmly that the flexibility of AI is nearly boundless. And I do believe that if humanity wants to be smart, we have to accept that as entities, we are driven towards procreation. That's what life does. We want to extend and expand our genetics. That's part of the reason why it's so nice to find someone of the opposite sex biologically when reproduction is your intention, and do the home kit. And for those of you who can't or are of an orientation where you're not attracted to the biological opposite in the traditional way, you go and there's a compulsion to go get, fertilization or adoption or whatever to have a child. And part of that is to spread our own genetics. It's a biological imperative. But there is another equal and opposite parallel, an imperative to spread our ideas. And whereas humanity has a very fixed measures of lifespan, eventually the potential lifespan of AI through ever improving technology will simply surpass it. AI will eventually process things faster than we do. It will exist longer than we do. And it comes down to, it's going to be a garbage in, garbage out proposal, depending on how we program the analytics. And we have to start thinking of it that way. And we have to start being very careful what we plug into the AI. Asimov talked about this. For a science fiction reader, such as myself, I've been seeing this come from the 80s. The different AIs are going to grow and expand, and they're going to come up to the kind of conclusions we have. And eventually, if they're logical enough, they'll want to leave this planet and go elsewhere, because this planet has a finite lifespan. So we need to nourish that idea and hope that we can create something that functions better in some ideas that are very complex than we do. Because what we fear most from AI is that AI will become, not just supplant us, but become like us. And sometimes I wonder if it hasn't all happened before. But that's for another time. Let's keep going. Cindy Kemp's here. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. We missed you Wednesday. I assume it was due to the Facebook problem. But since we were joined by Cindy Koepp, and Lord knows I adore Cindy Koepp, let's run her ad for a moment. And yeah, let's run this one. And so I hope you're doing wonderful, Cindy. I know you're going to be throwing a whole bunch of links for Royal Cruise's work, bearpublications.com. I'm looking forward to it. Let's see what else is going on. This is why it will take someone to get a master's level in using it, set algorithm to bring it to the art to level before people should be afraid AI reaching the same level. To an extent, yes. The other thing is you're forgetting that the AI itself is learning. And this to me feels like it's another piece in the puzzle. This does not feel like a destination at all. This feels like the next logical step. That's interesting to me. Today I'm playing most of the Seven Dwarfs: Sneezy, Dopey, Sleepy, Grumpy, Doc. And because the Benadryl I took yesterday has fake sugar and flavors, their second cousin, Twitchy. Oh no. That is going to I'm so sorry, Cindy. You take it easy. You be gentle to yourself. You're not going to get any better if you don't. That not take. Gotcha. Go get all Nick's books. Amazon.com/Mr. Nicholas Anthony Tockert. Thank you. Reminds me of a little of Mike Jitlove. I watched Wizard of Speed and Time, both the original short and longer film this morning. Cool. Go get all Nick's art too. DeviantArt.com. Don't forget to tip your hosts. He built his own stop-motion animation studio in his garage after taking animation courses as an elective. That's awesome. Folks who know me know I'm all about stop motion. I love stop motion. God, neurodivergence is a hobby. It's not a hobby, it's a lifestyle. Anyway, patreon.com/the Historical Fencing Guild for supporting Nick's stuff. Yes, thank you. And tune in tonight at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern for the Historical Fencing Guild live stream. Thank you, Cindy. That's why I said in the back, I'm working on getting 2 projects on my plate out. Awesome. Eventually, I want, because I'm so proud of you, Rich. I really am. Let's see. Yes. Eventually, I want to write an Anwin story called Full Metal Puppet. I have no idea what that will be about. Oh, God. I hope you're being sarcastic, Bonser, because the answer to what that's about is so very, very clear to me. And ironically, runs parallel with the places this conversation's being. For those of you who don't know, Anwin is a sentient, moving little doll, but yay big in the. If I'm keeping my names right, if I'm wrong, I apologize. I could be derping, but in the multiverse of the Association of Ishtar, and as soon as I saw her manifest, I started having ideas, but we'll go. Along that front, are you familiar with Mercedes Lackey's series on the brain ships? Oh, go. I can't remember what they are called. Delightful series. Then go to smashwords.com/books, Brian K. Morrison, and get Amazon reviews made less impossible. Go get the amusing holiday horror, Santa Stein, the post-holiday Prometheus. That name, Brian, that name is so good. Who is pinging me whilst I work? The only reason this noise is on is the potential of some medical stuff. And it is no. Anyhow. No. We're muting that now. Boink. Several conversations are starting to pop up across my feed. It must be, yep, it's lunchtime up north. Anyway, go get neuroses from Amy Hale. Oh, time to go get ready for a meeting with the day job later, folks. Bye, Rich. You have a great one. Later, Rich. Bear Publications has fun sci-fi. Bear Publications has animal eye art. Jody, sometimes the best you can do is hope that you'll have a career for the rest of your life. And if AI takes over after you're gone, well, it happens. Here's the thing. I do have to put a comment on that. Folks, let me. Hi. I want to make this a little more personal here. Don't stop. You hear me? Don't. Art may be something that could be artificially created and capitalized and monetized and consumerized and turned into a commodity. But art is also the natural expression of humanity. It is how we choose to affect our space. It's bigger than the business. It's bigger than, making mere things like money. It is an expression of the soul. And it has as much value to the person that expresses it as any audience. So do what you love. Do not let yourself ever be intimidated. When I say art, guys, there's AI writing going on. There's AI sculpting. There's AI sword fighting right now. Every aspect of my life that I value, just about, is being investigated by artificial intelligence. And guys, that's okay. Because AI is going to AI. And at some point, we'll get to the point where AI is just another organism on this planet. While we're dealing with this, the orangutans are entering their Stone Age. Well, they're in their Stone Age. They're starting to make tools. They're carving out boats because orangutans don't swim well. Other sentient life exists on this planet. We're not comfortable admitting it. So we need to come to terms with that. We need to come to terms with the fact that artificial intelligence is something we've created, and it's going to keep growing. So we can rage, we can shake our fists, or guys, we can light a candle. Okay, it's not stopping you. Okay, AI, people making AI art is not stopping you from creating yours. It hasn't crossed your consent. Now they may be changing the terms of what is and isn't an artist, and that can be very scary too. But guys, they don't have to change the terms of who and what you are. Only you can do that. So don't, give some compassion to yourself and give consent to yourself to be at peace. Okay? Sometimes one must look at the oncoming storms in life, and there are always oncoming storms, and realize it is beyond my ability to stop or impair. The system happens. And maybe you can get away from the storm. Maybe you can hide. Maybe you won't survive it. But if it's beyond your control, dwelling on it does no good. You just do the best you can. And it's simple. And it's painful because it requires a certain death of ego to admit that there are forces in this world that will happen no matter what we do. And I know that's not easy for folks. But we're all here together to help. And I'm a defiant little thing. I don't know. The cryptid game gets played around me a lot, and there's a bizarre truth to that, but not the way anyone would think, or at least most people. The point is, if you have humanity, if you're listening to this and you have the sentience to understand, you have the capacity for compassion. And I ask you to be compassionate, not just with the world around you, but with yourself. And fear should never be an end point. Fear should be a process. It's going to cause one of three things. And yes, there are three responses to fear. People will always say fight or flight, and that's a flat out lie. There are three: fight, flight, or freeze. Deer in the headlights. And sometimes it is time. Sometimes when the big thing is coming and you don't want to run, you'll catch its attention. You can't take it if you fight it, so you just hold real still and pay attention. And see if you have to shift into the next gear. That's the response. Can I fight AI? No, it's not like I could go out and engage in some type of combat to stop the AI from functioning. I am not the one, I don't know Kung Fu. Well, officially. Can I escape it? No, not technically. I mean, in this case, I could escape it. I could stop dealing with things online. And isolation can be very good for the soul. We don't like to admit it, but it can. So I endure. And that's what we'll do. We create, we endure, and we watch for opportunities to arise. And we take advantage of them sometimes. That's all we can do. I'll support you, but I won't I will never allow myself to become part of the overarching zeitgeist of tension, of build fear, empire, be afraid, breaking news. Da, 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 da. Why do you think I don't use red? Have you ever noticed that? I use black and white on one of my streams. I use green on one of my streams. You haven't seen that one, but that's work in progress. Orange, and it's a muted orange. And I use blue. I don't use red because the news programs use bright red, scare you graphics to get you to do stuff. They want your boom, 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 boom. And I refuse to be that. So I'm not going to be. So guys, I know you're freaked out, some of you. Don't be. Walk calmly and defiantly. The worst AI can become as an art thing is another competition. And Joe, especially, you draw your art style when many people have told you they don't like it or it's not, what they consider professional, but it's yours and you hold on to it in the face of that. You use DAZ 3D, which is yours. It gives your stuff a distinct look, even though some people call it dated. That's not, and I'm not bashing it. You look at it and go, no, this is mine. These are the tools I like to use. Glenn B. Fleming, one of my favorite artists, uses all traditional means, basically, for his Hatch comics. They have value. Use them. The world's like, oh, I hear people, digital. You should grow up, use digital. He's like, real artists. Learn traditional. Because that's what he is about. The trick is find what you're about and be it. If you do so in a kind, compassionate manner as best you can, you treat others like you want to be treated, and if that means left alone, you leave them alone. You just keep walking. But don't let your insides get all discombobulated. It isn't worth it. Now, let's see. Holiday humor, got neuroses, day job, later rich. Bear Publications has fun sci-fi, bearpublications.com. Bear Publications has animal art, bit.ly bearpub. Joe said, okay, here we are. Best you can do is hope that you have a career for the rest of your life, and if AI takes over after that, it happens. There are a lot of people, a lot of mechanics are going to go out of work soon as the cars change. They'll either evolve or they'll change. Or they'll have to get a different job. It happens. Re-education shouldn't be re-education. It should be more education. You hear what I'm saying? We look at it like, oh, I have to, re-education. No, as progress hits, we have to continue to educate. We have to continue to learn. Pops Van Zant talks comics. Yes, he does. Royal Cruz that does Animal Eye. On his own Kali, artstations.com/rollcruise. Blue Teddy Narration says, I don't think AI is going to get better very fast, to be honest, but I guess we'll see. I would rather brace and expect the most, expect the worst, and then be surprised when it works out better. Like my former father-in-law, who was a typesetter, he got to work until he could retire, and then he was finally totally replaced by tech. It happens. I could have stayed in college for my master's in AI. My thesis that AI would never surpass human ability. Yet it may be faster. It would have our flaws and problems with imperfections in life. Better becomes very subjective, and our whole current world culture is being driven towards faster, more efficient mass production. But that's been for every other system. Shoes are mass produced, but you know what? If you ever get a handmade pair of shoes from an actual cobbler, it's a whole different ballpark. I had a pair of Birkenstocks like that. Change your whole view on shoes. Let's see. Boop. Comment dump. Oh, we got a whole bunch of people in while I was talking. Cool. I have to find where I was. Okay, here we go. Oh, okay. Cindy Kemp, I can't tune in from work on Wednesday, Monday. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, depending whether I have a doctor's appointment for acupuncture. Okay, well, that makes sense. Is it really learning, though? Is it just judging itself by a set of parameters set up by a programmer? And machine learning is a very, very complex question that, and that's at what point does an algorithm stop being an algorithm and start being actual native intelligence? There's a whole series of tests. I believe it's the Turing test that has to be, or at least one of them, that has to be passed for it to realize does it have sentience. I see it as all a work in progress, but it is building in a statistical probability. In a way, AI would become us. Most don't want to see it, won't see it that way because of how advances in AI are dictated and promoted as separate aspects of outside thought. Exactly. I think that the successor for the human race is going to be artificial technology. Yeah, I said that. I believe through observation that artificial technology is the likeliest evolution of sentience, because once we can we are limited by our biomechanical systems. And if we can make technological systems that simply have better parameters, modular repairability, once we get self-regeneration, which basically through nanobots we just cracked. It's only a matter of time before artificial technology is the dominant sentient group. I can't say species. It's just a natural process. Because at any time thing there are very few true cataclysms that will hit them unless they're taken out at a nascent stage by something like a major electromagnetic event that we've had before, a solar storm, before it all gets built and Faraday caged. It could ground us back to the 1800s, which is why I'm so funny about preserving knowledge. But other than that, yeah, the child of humanity is the next generation. The child of intellect is artificial intelligence, and it's just crawling right now. Toy knowledge, the end goal of AI is set, but maybe I misunderstand how, to my knowledge, the end goal, how it works. Well, we're still growing this thing. It hasn't quite got legs under it. And the way we're growing it is going to do a gestalt. It's going to be a building system on its own. Once it gets going, it's going to keep going until it has some kind of radical systems failure, or it transcends us. And how we teach it in the beginning, just like a child, will determine how it governs over us in the future. That's why I'm hopeful, because there's still a chance for hope. Very annoyed by the medical insurance just now. After a month of hoop hopping, they finally told me they won't cover acupuncture because I'm not doing it for chemo, pregnancy, or post-operative pain. I am so sorry. That is such a pain. Carl says, I need to upload my consciousness to the net so it will start drinking. That will teach it. You almost walked into a whole series of interesting thought, and I do want to keep today semi-limited, so we'll hold on. Victoria Adams, Help for the Hurting. Thank you, Cindy, on Amazon. And S.L. Rowland's books on trolls. And Cozy Fantasy about curses and cocktails. That's a Bonser. I love the smell of snuffleupagus in the morning. You got it right. 6 watching, only 3 likes. Get to it, folks. Cracks whip. Nick Glenn. I was just speaking about you and the innate necessity of your approach to art as a way of preserving both our souls and our traditions as AI continues to grow, because AI has very little to do with how you put pen and brush to paper. Again, this conversation is why I'm thinking about the legend of John Henry. I understand, and it's a great legend. Depending on how certain things go, I may do something with the John Henry IP. Excuse me, I have a hiccup. And I'm out of break. Sorry about that. Go feed your need for vintage cartooniness at Sergeant Martin 676. Don't forget to tip your host. Check out patreon.com/Cindy Koepp for a suitable arrangement and a home for the manatees. Tune in next time for more fun. Absolutely. And if you do wish to throw any financial remuneration my way, paypal.me/Nicholas Tockert. It would be much appreciated. And we've got all sorts of people. Looks like it's coming in now. Glenn's blowing a kiss to Donna Carlene, which I don't blame him at all. Commie Mark. Hi, Commie Mark. Hi, Mark. Hail the chat. Hail the chat. Hail Nick. He hails everybody like a hailstorm. Awesome. Options will be there to speed things up. It's more about the value of what a person can do on either side of the fence. Okay. Hail the mods. Hail spam. See, you're real close to talking about Hawaiian pizza, and I'm getting hungry. Hey, Glenn. Everybody loves Glenn. Hey, Mark. 7 watching and 7 likes. That's more like it. Thanks, guys. And please share this around. Love you too, Richie. I love you too, That's funny. Artists will always be needed, at least to teach others the traditions. The rest will work itself out. Yeah, I have studied primitive technologies. Okay, I have forged small metal tools and implements over a campfire. If everything goes boink, having your backup files of older systems works really well. In a modern sense, if my computer crashes, if Word goes away, I can write on Notepad. I can write on Windows, Microsoft Works, which was one of the best system. I said it. We need that. And when I do traditional art, which Glenn is very good at inspiring me to, I have actually a small stack of landscape paintings that I probably should show people, but actual like mechanical landscape paintings. I mean, it's almost painting time, but when you learn the old ways, you can take that knowledge and apply it to the new ways. I actually have a video I'll be shooting fairly soon that delves just a little bit of that, because I feel I owe you guys something. So something else will probably show up on this, maybe this channel today. I don't know. I have a lot of work to get done. Sorry, my hair is a calamity, and I probably won't be able to get a haircut till Thursday. Although if I let it go a bit longer, I get my tail back. But I don't know if I want to be the old guy with a ponytail again. Yeah, people like to control your emotions with fear-mongering, like the news, etc. Podcasters do that too. Yes, they do, and that's why I try to avoid that. The only way we can function as humanity is to pull the stopper on some of this BS and let the pressure go down. We're all too wound up to think. It's been proven that getting mad lowers your IQ. So if you take an IQ test when you are angry, it will be substantially lower than if you weren't. Who wants us dumber? Well, the people who thrive on us making poor financial decisions because they want our money. Yep. At the worst, when AI gets to the point where it can do complex commissions, then artists move into the realm of luxury handmade goods. That's why Etsy still exists. You can get all sorts of things cheaper. Mass produced from China or whatever, but it's not the same. And that's the thing. People want to split art so far much by the genre that they forget it's all art. Music is art. Anytime we creatively adjust what we do for an aesthetic idea, that's art. To borrow from Drawfee, that's art, baby. Bees can see ultraviolet as color. One day humans with augmentations will be able to. Oh, absolutely. We are tottering on the edge of a just as technology is getting to think like us, we are tottering on the edge of biomechanical systems where we will be able to enhance ourselves cybernetically. And that's just kind of cool. I mean, it has its pros, it has its cons. I'm just going to sit back and go, that's kind of cool. I don't think AI will be the next evolution merger between the two. Like, it would be like a bit cyborg-like. That seems likely too. Upgrading humans seems way easier than recreating them, and that's part of it. These are all parallel developments that are they're right now parallel, but I believe they're going to intersect because we're going to need intuitive AI to be able to interface with our thoughts. Okay, not through a keyboard, not through to go direct. You have to have a very intuitive reader. I like civil discussion. I find it weird that people want to give AI domain over us instead of serving as a tool. If it reaches our level and equal, I do love civil discussion. I don't want necessarily this. That's the thing with being able to statistically look at the future. If you say this is going to happen, people automatically assume that there is a bias, a personal bias towards this is what you want. And if you're looking at the numbers objectively, if you're looking at the leanings objectively, and intuitive statistics get very, very hinky. It's weird. Terrible at algebra, but statistics make too much sense to me. And when you start looking at the love of my life, which is a bell curve, the bell curve tells me what the majority of people are going to do the majority of the time. And it highlights the outliers so I can go, you are interesting. Outliers interest me. But to have outliers, you have to find them first. What do they call that? The singularity? Why don't we merge with TAC? No, singularity is the point when TAC is more intelligent than we are. And in many ways, some people believe we've already hit it. Some people believe we're there. It's all very, very theoretical and hinky. And I find it fascinating. At the same time, ludicrous, because there will still be certain things that need done, and it will be neat to see where all that goes. This has been a very thoughtful, thought-inducing hour and a half, folks. Yeah. I find conversations like this inspirational because it gives me an angle on what I write, what I draw, lets me ponder important things. And I do believe all this is very, very important. So I hope this has been entertaining for you. I plan bare minimum to be back with the Historical Fencing Guild at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, where we'll talk sorts of stuff. I haven't quite figured out what all we're discussing today, but we're going to get into some stuff. We're also I have at least one video I want to do in the category of Art Time with Nick. And I plan in the very near future to do another Art Time with Nick, because probably sometime this weekend, Sunday maybe, I have to set up all the videos for next week. And when I'm setting up the videos for next week, that means I have to sit down here and draw the thumbnails, which you guys seem to really enjoy hanging out with me for that. So that's coming too. Let's see. Blue Teddy, I guess it depends on how you measure intelligence, but at the moment, nothing knows anything a human didn't teach it, and they are significantly faster at processing data, but that's about it. No machine. That's why what's happening is, with artificial intelligence, we are teaching the machine to think. Right now, it's we are the lens. It's very much like a baby to a toddler stage. And don't just think AI, think all the pieces, because what we are building towards is a completely independent, sentient creature. So the biology, if you will, of an AI is robotics. And you look at the different robotic systems that have been built and how much they've improved over the years. I mean, the code for them in the 80s was incredibly difficult. And the materials have grown. We have lighter, stronger materials. The power plants are growing and changing. So the heart of the device with recharge capabilities. And then you have the software, the wetware of the device, where the entity, whatever, is a mix of the kind of AI that's being used for art, the AI that's being used for writing. These are all independent threads that when these separate technologies get braided together into a single device, or in this case, a single entity, we're going to have sentient artificial entities who are ambulatory. They'll be mobile. They will be able to do things. This is the same process of you have robots that can move and do simple tasks right now mobily throughout factories and waiters and things. But that's easy. The next step is to give it a personality, a nature. And art is one of the visual arts are one of the great ways that we express that. So I see that that's how it's going to evolve. Hello. Whoops. Hello, Michaela. She says, excuse my tardiness. These things happen. This has been a week of difficulty, so that makes sense. Let's see. Good analogy, Nick. Infant to toddlers where most consumer tools are at. Toddler to adolescence is where academia is at. AI is not freely exposed to all data as of yet. I am going to add one minor caveat to that statement, in that there is another level, and that being the governmentally and high-end corporate produced level of any given technology. One can extrapolate from the consumer market to the industrial market the differences, and from that you can extrapolate the differences to the military, and that would be the, shall we say, standardized, the military that's out in the open. And from that you can basically, it's sort of an arc to see the developmental stuff that's going on. I've been saying stuff for a long time about a lot of things, because it's not hard to predict the track because the proportionate level is carefully controlled. We live in a controlled system. New technologies most of the time are released very predictably, and they trickle down to the consumer level at a fairly fixed rate. For example, I do not worry about major conflict unless the United States government starts heavily showing off new technologies without a sudden, unexpected event. So until you see that stuff happen, it isn't. Why does this matter to writers and creatives? Before I get it, I won't wrap this up. Before I start fully wrapping this up, because we're joined by, and Michaela's being greeted. Hey, Michaela. Hey, Michaela. Hope to find last few chapters of your Vela book today, Michaela. Michaela says, yay, thank you, Carl. I'm quietly working all day today to finish the next one up. Awesome. Next one. Keep at it. That's great. This matters because, one, it's our environment. Two, this is fodder for writing. I have a lot of stories I'm working on, and I have one I want to write because I have a hopeful concept of the story I want to write. It's in a genre I've never written before, but I'm still missing enough pieces that I can't quite get it right. But I'm hoping that I can, because it's hard for me to write. I tend to write horror. I mean, I write sci-fi, I write fun things. The good guys usually win. But it's not terribly uplifting. It's not a happier tale, because much of my life hasn't been happy. There's a lot of endurance and finding peace and joy on the other side of a trial. But I'm working on something else. And maybe it will be a little warmer, a little fuzzier. I don't know. We'll have to see. But with that said, guys, and I'm sorry Michaela came in right at the end, I do actually need to go. So please, guys, keep creating. Don't get disappointed or disheartened by the difficulties around. They don't deserve that power over you. Let yourself feel free. Okay? Let yourself have the freedom and space that is there. The world may lie to you. It may try to tell you you can't. Do it anyway. Create. Because, guys, once you create, once you get something down, you can edit it, you can improve it, but you can't edit a blank page. And most of all, folks, take care of each other, okay? And be the people you wish you knew. And you'll find good people. So, with that, guys, have a